Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to another Channel 8 sports presentation. This afternoon from East Brunswick High School's J. Doyle Field, it is homecoming as East Brunswick hosts Woodbridge. Hi, I'm Jimmy Allinder, being joined by Phil Hill. And Mr. Hill, we have a game that's going to be pretty close this afternoon, I would suspect.
I think it's going to be a close game and certainly a pivotal game for the Bears, who could come out of this 3-2 and far surpass the 500 record, which they haven't reached in the last 3 years. But, Jimmy, I tell you, this Woodbridge team is not a typical Woodbridge team. I talked to Coach Bill Nyer. He says, we're young. They lost a lot of talent last year. Ali Lee and McGrath, the quarterback, and Kaheen Cowens. So they lost an awful lot. But they love to fight. They lost 20-10 against Edison last week. And Nyer says their big problem is the third quarter. They said for a half they can stay with the big boys. They've lost to Piscataway, they lost to Old Bridge, and they lost to Edison. This Woodbridge team can be run on. Old Bridge had nearly 400 yards on them. Edison had nearly 300 yards on them. And I think if the Bears are going to have to win, if the Bears are going to win, they're going to have to utilize the running game. Last week against Piscataway, a 30-17 loss by the Bears, Ryan Cosentino, the super quarterback, put on quite a performance.
Yeah, that was a close game.
That was a closer game than the 30-17. Actually, the Bears, if they took advantage of the opportunities, despite the yardage, they had a chance to win that game. Ryan Cosentino, one reporter called him Joe Cap because he was like a bull. He's got to take his time and do a little bit more reading this time. He's got to make the move. If the tackle moves, then he's got to give it to the fullback, Mullane. If not, then he keeps it, rolls out. He either decides to keep it or he pitches it. But he's got to do a better job of reading. Nobody has a bigger heart than Ryan Cosentino, but he's got to settle down and do a little more reading because this team can be run on.
Okay, and now we've had a rain off and on for the last couple of days. The field is slick, I imagine. Do you think that's going to play any or have any factor into what goes on this afternoon?
Now, I think it's going to be pretty balanced because the Bears are going to run the ball. And I talked to Bill Nyers, who's been throwing the ball 25 to 30 times a game, and he says, we're not going to throw as much today. What we're going to do is we're going to try to establish the run. So you can look for a quick game if everybody's going to be running, and defense is going to have to be the difference.
Okay, and the health situation for East Brunswick, how's everybody doing there?
Everybody's doing fine. Everybody's pretty healthy. I tell you, the Bears, you don't want their mantra to be is that we played a hard game. They said that against Piscataway. They said it against Bridgewater Raritan. 2 games with a few breaks here, they could have won and whatnot. This is a different team. These are some talented young fellows, the juniors that are mixing with the seniors, and they can do a lot of damage in this Group 4.
Okay, and we talk about Group 4. This is a different season in the sense that there's a new playoff format. In past years, if you lost more than one game, you were pretty much out of it as far as the playoffs are concerned. However, East Brunswick, even with a 2-2 record, if they can start to win some games, put some wins together, they're going to be in pretty good shape to get a playoff spot. So we'll just keep our eyes on that. Right now, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with the kickoff right after this. Okay, we're back at J. Doyle Field as we see the captains for the respective teams, East Brunswick and Woodbridge, meet for the coin toss.
And, of course, you have Cosentino and Bayard Pleasant as the captains for the Bears, and for the Barrons, Keith Hemmings, number 12, Joe Laquari, number 54, and Mario Alexandro, number 75.
Number 12, Hemmings, is quite a player. He didn't talk too much up top, though, but he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. Certainly the best receiver I saw last year. And, of course, Bill Nyers tried the grand experiment with Hemmings at quarterback, sort of like Kenny Jackson and Drew Pearson at South River. But he changed his mind. He put him back at wide receiver. He says that's the place the kid belongs, and that's why he has him there.
Well, I suspect that they want to get the ball in his hands. That's primary, and whether or not it's through the air or end arounds or whatever, we're going to keep our eye on number 12.
They want to get in his hands, but some think that if you're the quarterback, you touch the ball more than anybody. So your best athlete has it in his hands. It just didn't work out for them there. He thinks he has a better thing, putting Keith Hemmings on the wing, split out.
We should mention that there is a light mist or in between rain, whatever you want to call it, that's starting to fall here. We'll have to, again, keep our eyes on the conditions, see what happens, see if the players can hold on to the ball. It appears that Woodbridge will be kicking, and therefore East Brunswick will be receiving. Deep for the Bears.
Well, deep for the Bears, you're going to have Brad Pleasant, of course, and you're going to have Chris Hurley and Tommy McCluskey and John Mullane.
All right. And Pleasant is number 3 this time?
Number 3.
Okay.
Change of jerseys.
Not noted in the program. There's the kick, and it goes into the corner and bounds out of bounds at about the 15. So East Brunswick probably will get the ball up to the 40-yard line if I'm...
35.
Is it the 35? And that's where the Bears will begin. Phil mentioned that they will be running the wishbone offense, which has been extremely successful this year. Ryan Cosentino, number 15, is your quarterback. And we'll probably handle a bulk of the ball carrying, but as Phil mentioned also, he needs to get the ball in the hands of his running backs. So East Brunswick 1st and 10 from its own 35. We're just underway here. Cosentino gives it.
And there he goes.
Off to Mullane.
And I'll tell you, as I mentioned, he's got to get it to his running backs, and there's an example there. John Mullane with excellent speed. Woodbridge is soft up the middle. Mark Allen for Edison, a pretty good fullback himself, picked up more than 100 yards running on this defense. So you can expect him to keep that ball on the ground.
Phil, Cosentino has really developed into an extremely effective wishbone quarterback. He could be just as good as a drop back, but that deception is what really makes it work.
I think he could even be better as a drop back.
There he is, pitch. And Hurley gets a good 5-yard gain.
And I'll tell you, Keith Hemmons, one of the tacklers coming up for the Barrons there. But you see the Bears, and you're going to see all the backs today. You're going to see them all, Jim, and why not?
Woodbridge, as usual, is a fairly good-sized team. However, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win the battle at the line.
Quickness counts.
And East Brunswick does have some quickness this year. Cosentino gives it off to Pleasant, and he bounds ahead for another first down. East Brunswick is inside the 38-yard line. Let's see if we can get some of those tackles.
And the interesting thing, Cosentino is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Virtually every back has touched the ball, and he has not run it yet himself.
Yanazzo is out. Just recently returned from an injury. Ball is on the 34-yard line. Now he keeps it himself. Cosentino does. Gets good yards and lunges ahead, and I think he has another first down.
He has another first down, and Cosentino for a quarterback is a bull. Of course, he's a linebacker as well, but if you could have saw the Piscataway game, Jim, I mean, one might tend to say that he took a beating, but it wasn't so much that he took a beating. He sort of dished out some stuff as well.
Piscataway, by the way, lost last
Yes,
night
they did.
to J.P. Stevens.
J.P. Stevens, 1918.
We'll talk about those standings in a second. Another first down for the Bears. It's their 4th. Pleasant this time has it. Doesn't get that much.
Okay.
And a host of Barrons
Mike
corral him.
Mike Castellano.
That's number 54, Castellano?
23 coming up as well.
Okay. Castellanos, right. And we'll call it a gain of 2, making it 2nd and 8.
Nozzle comes out as Rob King goes in.
Of course, what this running game does is just makes Woodbridge that much more vulnerable to the pass, although you do have Hemmings back there. He's the free safety, if you will. Cosentino calling signals. Drops it, but picks it up, and he has room. Keeps on moving.
Oh, mercy.
Moving.
Oh,
and there's the ball
popped loose.
again. Nope, the referee's going to call it down.
Down?
That's
Nobody got hold of. Down for who?
Down
for the
for
Bears.
East Brunswick.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Claims that that Costantino's knee was down.
I'll tell you. And
I was wondering who you were going to argue with there, my
I was
friend.
saying. Costantino's the bull.
Yeah.
He's a bull. Very physical. 6'3", 220.
And perhaps even growing. They move the chains one more time. It is now first down on the 12, so East Brunswick can get another first down before the goal. Pleasant stopped in the backfield this time. That tackle was made by number 27, Joe Murphy.
And Murphy showing good speed from his linebacker position.
Good penetration that time. Actually, it was a loss of about 4 yards. So the ball is on the 15, making it second, and we'll call it 2nd and 14. Just underway here, 8:20 left to go in period 1.
And I tell you, Ryan might pass here, but again, the true E-bone, wishbone, would continue to run it.
Only one receiver split to the left for East Brunswick. Costantino has a choice.
Good block.
Has a choice, and he does pitch it off to Hurley. And Hurley bounds it all the way down to about the 2-yard line.
I'll tell you, Rob King on consecutive blocks on one play there, Jim. And when you go back to look at the tapes, he actually sealed it off for Costantino and then came up and threw another block.
Okay.
Rob King doing a super job over there.
And the ball is advanced to about the 3-yard line. It looks to be about 2 yards shy, but East Brunswick gets a lot back on that play, and they are knocking on the door. 3rd and 2. A lot of room to the right here. However, they go to the left, and it might be good enough for a first down. That was Mullane.
That's Mullane picking up a yard. And
I think they might have to measure this. Let's see. Could be a little shy. No, they're going to call it 4th down. Measurement.
I'll tell you, it's going to be interesting, Jim.
Well, let's see.
Either way,
I think he has enough.
This will be interesting.
Well, they stretch it, and boy, just a bit short right there. Got to believe East Brunswick's going to go for this.
Of course they're going to go for it. 4th down hasn't been kind to them in a few games here, but they're just a yard away, Jim. They got to get it.
Well, if you look at that center of the Woodbridge line, there are some players there that are
They got some.
Got to be 250, 260.
They got some beef, but they've been run on all year.
Number 95. Well, he's not listed in the program. Number 75. That's Allinder. And Costantino not only gets the first down, he gets a touchdown. So East Brunswick on the board at 7:26. Takes a 6-0 lead, and that's a good omen for the Bears.
A good omen for the Bears, and an excellent drive for the Bears. They kept it on the ground in that whole march there, Jim. They didn't pass it once, and they're sticking to their game plan, and it appears that they can really run on this team.
Got to give credit to the center, Matt Zukas, for flying a nice block there, paving the way.
And Costantino following right behind him.
All right, here we go for the extra point. This is Yanazzo, puts it through, I think, yes.
And it's good.
Okay, and the point is good for a 7-0 lead for East Brunswick. This team is just so much more fluid than it's been a year ago.
Well, we talked about it at the top of the game. This team has talent, Jim. They have a lot of speed on this team. They have some gutty players. I think the game against Piscataway and the game before that against J.P. Stevens and whatnot, some people really established themselves as players. One of them certainly is Tommy McCluskey, the safety, who came up while Jamil Davis was running about 20 yards for Stevens, stopped him cold in his track.
Okay.
Mano y mano. Teddy Nemick getting an all-important 3rd down catch to keep things going against J.P. Stevens, scoring a touchdown. against Piscataway as well. And so a lot of people have really come around. Rob King coming a super game against J.P. Stevens, showing some steadiness on defense, but also blocking offensively.
Inazo will kick off for East Brunswick. Hemmings is deep, and they're not going to kick it to him. And the ball, he should have let it go out of bounds. I guess there wasn't enough time. He
wasn't thinking there,
yeah.
Jim. Gave up a little bit of yardage as a result of it.
Yeah, well, I think what the back had in mind is that East Brunswick was bounding down the side there, and he figured, well, rather than wait for it to go out of bounds, he would catch the ball. Is a difference of about 9 yards, granted.
But you're right. They were trying to keep it away from Keith Hemmings. Keith Hemmings is that dangerous, Jim, that
I was talking to Hugh Walsh, and he saw the Woodbridge, and his first words out of his mouth was, this guy is first-rate, all Division I. So,
they're bumping him off the line, Jim. They got him double coverage over here.
I'm sure he's seen it all. And that ball was carried by number 44.
Reyes.
That's their fullback.
Damian Reyes.
Well, let's see where they mark it. Marked it up to the 30-yard line, so that's a gain of 4 on the play, making it 2nd and 6.
And Nyer says he's going to run, Jim, but I got to believe it's old habits are hard. They've been passing all year, and with a weapon like Hemmings, they either got to throw the short flat pass and let him see if he can do his thing if they can't get it to him.
Well, you got the East Brunswick coaching staff to our left here, so sure he's not going to tell you anything too revealing. 2nd and 6, we got a whistle here. And it's thrown in the Woodbridge backfield.
Looks like motion there, Jim.
Probably the call. And I don't think Woodbridge can afford too many penalties today. Again, it's misting on and off. Other than that one fumble by Cosentino that was called down, they've handled the ball pretty well so far, East Brunswick.
They've handled it very well, and I think you're going to see that for most of the day. They got some talented backs, and they're going to run the ball.
How do you pronounce the quarterback's name? Brian Szymanczyk? Szymanczyk, okay. Woodbridge itself is in a wishbone formation.
Okay, Hemmings double covered once again. Corio below and King on the outside.
And he looks to him. Great catch.
I'll tell you, good catch and a good stick by Tommy McCluskey. I told you, Jim, Tommy McCluskey again, if you could have saw it. Davis coming through for J.P. Stevens, and Tommy met him head up. Just a clop in the middle of the field. And Tommy, not a very big defender, but a hard hitter.
So the gain is up to the 34-yard line, making it 3rd and 3. Szymanczyk. Give is 2. Well, that's going to be close. Reyes was the ball carrier, met by a host of Bears, and led last one off the pile. Okay, is Corio.
And Reyes is only 180 pounds, but showing some mettle there, and they do pick up that first down, Jim.
Ball marked at the 37. We have 5:20 left to go as the clock continues to run in this first period. Woodbridge with a 1-3 record, and Phil, these are the Central Jersey Group 4 defending champions.
Defending champs. Quite a year they had last year, Jim, but they, as I said, they lost a lot of people from that team. But they still have Bill Nyers.
Give to Reyes, but he's caught. Well, yeah, they got him. A couple of good tackles there.
A couple of good tackles there, and I tell you,
Zukas was one of the first in there.
And David Koningberg as well, putting his nose in there.
Actually, no gain on the play, so we'll make it 2nd and 10. Despite this poor weather, there is a fairly nice crowd here for East Brunswick.
Okay, 2nd and 10, Jim. A good time to try to get it to Mr. Hemmings.
And there's a double flanker on the right.
And Mr. Gurney as well. Let's see.
So that means single coverage. Now they're calling another defender over. But watch the quarterback's head. He's looking to him. No, he gives it to Reyes. Good deception there. That was a good play.
And I'll tell you, good deception is right, Jim. Fooled everybody.
Right, we thought the ball was headed in Hemmings' direction. Reyes picks up more than enough for the first down.
Rob King coming up to make the tackle there.
And advances it to about the 48-yard line. So a first down for Woodbridge.
And I tell you, Hemmings coming out on the field. He looks like a Division I player already.
He sure does. First down is Semantic.
That's the Gurney.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Good coverage.
Excellent coverage. Again, Koningberg and I believe McCluskey again coming up.
And that is actually a loss, slight loss of 1 perhaps.
And I'll tell you, how fast is Tommy McCluskey coming up from his safety position there, just zeroing in on the ball carrier?
Well, it's more than just speed, Phil. It's recognition. And that's really one of the great improvements in this East Brunswick team this year. They know what to expect. Their heads are in the game.
The point is, when you're aggressive, Jim, even if you make a mistake, you can make up for it.
Second, and we'll still call it 10 yards to go for the Barrons. Hemmings to the left. We're going to mention him a lot. Reyes, though, dodges 1 tackle in the backfield, but maybe gets a yard.
Okay.
And brought down by number 37. That's Botwash. And number 70, Kenny Martin.
And Rob King in on that as well.
Excuse me, that was King.
And the rain's picking up, Jim.
Yes, it is. Third and 10 yards to go. Semantic back to pass. Here comes King. It looks like a screen. And nice play.
I'll tell you.
Nice play by Corio.
I'll tell you. Corio. I'll tell you, actually rolled off a block by Big 79, the tackle for Woodbridge, and ended up making the tackle.
That was Jason Alley that was the recipient of that pass. But Corio fends off a block, as Phil said.
Let's see.
Makes the tackle, and that gain was perhaps 1 yard. It forces Woodbridge into a punting situation. And okay. I believe that's Salazar kicking for Woodbridge. Here comes East Brunswick. Almost blocks it, and the kick is bounding to the left here. And fielded by number 53. DePaulo for Woodbridge, and East Brunswick will take over on its own 31.
And I tell you, you're right, Jim. Almost a block. Again, it's just good speed and being aggressive.
So the Bears get the job done defensively, and they've already scored once. So there's 2 minutes and 1 second left in the first period. East Brunswick with a 7-0 lead in this key, and I mentioned key, GMC Red Division matchup.
And I don't think you're going to see the Bears do anything different, Jim, other than run their offense.
Right. It's a safe offense, especially with the weather being a little slick. Cosentino gives to Mullane. Beautiful cut up field. Showed good presence of mind there.
That's Johnny Mullane.
Mullane actually dodged a tackle on Hemmings' part.
And I think that's that midline counter there for the Bears.
Gets a first down. Great holes and good recognition by the quarterback. Makes that easy for Mullane, but he made a great cut there to make extra yards.
Johnny's got good speed, and if he gets a step, he can go.
Cosentino keeps, heads inside, and lunges forward. Gets about 3 on that play. Phil, even when he seems to be up, there's a flag.
There's an unsportsmanlike.
All right, number 27 was mouthing off to East Brunswick, and the referee did not like what he heard. That is Joe Murphy, and it's going to be 15 yards tacked on to this play.
And a play like that can hurt you. It certainly depends on where you are in the game. The Bears felt one of those against Piscataway last week, and it really hurt them. This one here, while it ensures that the Bears keep control of the ball, we'll see how much it hurts the Barrons.
Clock continues to run now. Minute 20 left to go in the first period. Just a hint of color in the trees now, Phil. We're starting to wind toward autumn, I guess. Cosentino back to pass. Lunges one down the field, but a little long. Hit it, designed for number 20. And who is that? Number 20, if that's not pleasant. Phil knows these players by recognition, so I'm going to put the pressure on him here.
Now, number 3, that's number 80. That's Rob King.
Oh, okay. Well, that settles that. It's Rob King.
But
looked like number 20.
Cosentino coming out, surprisingly throwing right there. As I said, Jim, they've been running that E-bone, and Woodbridge really hasn't stopped them.
Well, I think what gives East Brunswick confidence to throw on first down is that they've run the ball so well for big yards. So they can get it back. It's 2nd down and 10. The ball is on Woodbridge's 40-yard line. Cosentino gives to Pleasant, but they got him. Now we got another flag.
They got Pleasant for a loss, and you're right, Jim.
And you know, that flag was thrown in the vicinity of Murphy once again. I wonder if he is still involved in some shenanigans. You know, when you're already been plagued by one personal foul, you got to believe that they call a holding penalty on East Brunswick. So that'll march the ball back 15 for East Brunswick.
That's right. The Barrons will take the penalty. 10 yards, I believe, Jim. You're right. Declined.
That's because there was a loss of 4 on the play, but I don't like that. Anytime you can, I don't like that for Woodbridge's sake. East Brunswick, I think, will gladly accept that refusal.
Well, they wanted 3rd down, and they had stopped them, Jim, so.
Phil, with 3rd and 14 right here, not necessarily the best call.
It was 2nd down, though, Jim. They lost it down.
No flag. Now, Woodbridge seems to be stiffening up now. No gain on that play by Mullane, so it'll bring up a 4th down. East Brunswick will likely punt the ball.
If you're the Bears, you don't want to get away from your game plan, Jim. They seem to have it well in hand, and then they came with a few different formations and sort of got out of sync.
And that is going to do it for the first period of play. The score is East Brunswick 7, Woodbridge nothing. East Brunswick is going to be faced with a 4th down. Ball is just about at Woodbridge's 45-yard line. There is really no wind to speak of, but the rain continues to fall. And a fine mist that could be a factor as we move along this afternoon. Phil, the fall sports teams continue to do very well for East Brunswick.
As they always do.
Yeah, exactly. The boys soccer team is rolling with a 7-2-1 record and is fresh from a 3-2 victory over South Brunswick on Friday. The girls team is really uncharacteristically 6-3-2, but they bruised Woodbridge 9-0 on Friday, and that could be the signal that the girls are waking up after losing their first game against a GMC opponent in many years just a couple of weeks ago to Piscataway. So let's not dismiss the Bears just yet. Okay, we're ready for this 4th down punt.
And
Cosentino will be the punter.
He's been doing an excellent job at punting this year as well.
Not surprised. Gets off a good one. Line drive. Hemmings picks it up. Tries to look for some open field.
Oh, he goes down.
And a flag goes down as well.
And that's Hurley down there on the tackle.
Hurley made a nice tackle, and I think they're going to also call probably a clipping penalty. Let's see what we got here. That's usually the case in that type of situation. And that's the call. So ball being on the 11-yard line, they're going to go half the distance here.
I'll tell you, Hemmings look a little tentative there,
He
Jim.
does. And, Phil, I'm going to also mention, when he was playing defense, he missed that tackle. Saw him walk a little gingerly, and I'm wondering if he's 100%.
Well, he had a bad back last week. He was held to only 3 catches for 51 yards due to that bad back, so maybe it's still bothering him. I don't know.
Nonetheless, Woodbridge backed up on its own 5, or let's call it 6-yard line. First down. Again, East Brunswick planting 2 men on Keith Hemmings. Semanek gives to Rays. Tries to find some room to the outside. Gets up to about the 9-yard line, let's call it. Gain of 3.
And I'll tell you, Rays again, a little load for 180 pounds.
He runs hard. Actually, Cosentino was one of the first in there. Ball is marked on the 10-yard line, so a gain of 4 on the play, making it 2nd and 6 as we begin the second quarter of play. Phil, we'll talk a little bit about the state playoff picture. I had a chance to talk to Coach Toto, and he cleared up a couple of questions that I had. But the game here is what's most important now. 2nd and 6 for the Barrons. Sesmanic drops back to pass. Looks to his right.
And they're on him.
Okay. That ball was caught by number 2.
And I'll tell you, Koningberg, once again,
Gurney was the receiver.
On him, and Hurley coming up as well.
Just shy of the first down, called 3rd and 1.
But I tell you, you got to give the Bears credit. A lot of defense thus far. They're not going to let Hemmings beat them. Anytime he catches the ball, he's got 2 defenders around him right away.
Woodbridge needing only a yard here. Ball is given to Rays, wrapped up first.
Chris Gersal.
Gersal, however, I think that was enough for the first down. Well, they are going to call it first down. So Woodbridge gets itself temporarily out of trouble.
And Woodbridge may be doing a little bit what the Bears had tried to do earlier in the year is control the ball. Don't allow East Brunswick to get the ball by just try to keep sustained drives. Keep it a low-scoring affair if they can.
First down on the 18-yard line. What do we have here?
Might be a little encroachment here, Jim. We'll see.
Well, one of the linebackers for the Bears was charging. And you wonder if he went across the line.
It's against the Woodbridge, rather.
Well, that's what it was. I think either the center guard for the Barrons saw that charging linebacker and moved a little too soon. So a 5-yard penalty backs up Woodbridge to its own 12-yard line, making it 1st and 15. 9:38 to go in the second period. East Brunswick is leading by the 7-0 score. Cosentino on a 2-yard plunge with 7 minutes to go in the first period. Sematic calling signals 1st and 15 for Woodbridge. Looking to pass, throws it across the middle.
Ooh, nearly intercepted. There's a flag, though.
And they're going to probably call interference. I think maybe holding.
I'll tell you, that was a quick action piece there. Let's see.
Perhaps they thought that Hemmings was held up. I can't believe that he even had a chance to catch that ball.
It didn't appear that way, Jim.
Nonetheless, the penalty is against East Brunswick. A 15-yarder puts the ball, well, let's see.
As I said, what they're doing with Hemmings, Jim, they're bringing him back up to bump him off the line anytime he goes off, and then the deep back picks him up once he's bumped off there. So they have 2 guys on him each time there. And the Bears have been doing a pretty good job with it thus far.
And that is a first down, obviously.
And you see Corio and King on Hemmings right now.
Rays with it. Gets outside. But another nice tackle by East Brunswick, number 26, McCluskey.
McCluskey with another nice tackle. Safety coming up again.
Rays actually gets 5 yards on the play. That makes it 2nd and 5. Ball is at the 33-yard line. Woodbridge showing a few signs here now of offensive capability. Rays, again the ball carrier.
Nothing.
This time they stack them
Nothing. I tell you, the center of that East Brunswick line there, led by Raheem Bazir Rahim.
Playing on the line on the right side. Loss on the play of 1, making it 3rd and 6.
Okay, interesting, Jim. Looks like it may be a passing down for the Barrons here. They don't. It's not just Hemmings that they have. There's Carl Gurney, number 2. They got to watch out for him as well. He's not spread out, however, right now.
Hemmings is actually the lone setback to the right, lone receiver. And they're going to look for him. Semanek actually has some room. They close on him, but he's still fumble on the play.
And the Bears get it.
Brunswick does get it. And that's the liability of the quarterback carrying the ball, who's not used to it.
And I'll tell you, Matt Zook is Johnny on the spot right there. Comes up with the big recovery there.
East Brunswick will take over on the Woodbridge 42-yard line. Semanek had good room. Hennings was covered, so he took to the daylight and was going to have a first down until Zukas nailed him.
Once again, the Bear defense is playing opportunistic ball here.
And Phil, rather than throwing on first down, maybe East Brunswick ought to get back to running that wishbone like they did.
They sort of got away from it, Jim, when they were moving rather well. We'll see.
This is only their 3rd possession. And Costantino keeps it. He's got room to the outside. Nice block there. That block was by number 82, Yanazo.
And that's Christian Nozzle with a super block on the outside that had Costantino picking up additional yards.
And he picks up about 20 on the play.
And their receivers, both King and Yanazo, doing a fine job on downfield blocking.
Ball is all the way down to Woodbridge's 21-yard line. First down again for East Brunswick. They already have a 7-0 lead, East Brunswick does. Costantino to this side, pitches it to Hurley. He's got room.
He's got a lot of room. Good block by
King. There you go. What a nice block by number 80.
Rob King once again with a super block downfield there, and Chris Hurley takes it all the way in, Jim.
And East Brunswick with a touchdown, making the score now 13 to 0. Really nice play. 21-yard touchdown for Chris Hurley. Coming at 6:48 left to go in the second period.
And I think that's Hurley's 4th touchdown of the year, Jim.
And Yanazo will be looking for his 2nd extra point of the day. Nice center snap. And the kick is good.
I'll tell you, good adjustment by Costantino. Fumbled it a little bit, but then got it down, and Yanazo got it up.
And that makes it 14-0. You know, the center snap is all important. Number of games, and of course we saw that in the J.P. Stevens victory
right.
East Brunswick had here. That center snapper is number 51. Is it Zold?
Zold, Tom Zold.
Okay.
And I tell you, does a good job. The thing is, they got to put it all together. It's the center snap, the holder, the timing, and so forth.
Right. So East Brunswick now has a 14-0 lead. And they have been playing very, very well this afternoon. Taking advantage of that turnover, Woodbridge seemed to appear to be on its way to developing some sort of offense, but that turnover really hurt them. So Yanazo will kick off again.
And once again, back for the Barrons, you have Matt Smith and Keith Hemmings. Excuse me, you have
that's Gurney.
Carl Gurney.
Gurney and Hemmings. Ball is kicked to number 54, picked up by number 21, nailed. Who was that tackle by, Phil?
Is that McCluskey again?
That was Denman Edwards, the ball carrier.
Chris Hurley made the tackle.
Okay. And East Brunswick playing with a vengeance now.
Well, the young number 21 for the Barrons,
And
Damon Edwards.
This topsy-turvy GMC Red Division, a lot of things are happening. We talked about Piscataway being upset by Stevens on Friday night. And some other things happened too we'll talk about. Woodbridge will try once again. Ball's on their own 26-yard line. 1st and 10. Semanek gives to Rays. Gets a little opening, but is down. Closed quickly by the East Brunswick defense.
And I'll tell you,
Zukas was one there.
Zukas and Batwash on the tackle.
Talked about the standings, Phil. You have Woodbridge. Well, let's put it this way. Piscataway still has a first place lead, 1 game over East Brunswick, depending on the outcome of this game. They have 1 loss. East Brunswick is also 2-1 in the division. The other out-of-conference loss to Bridgewater. But then you have Woodbridge followed by Woodbridge and Stevens, and Edison is also in the pack there. So a lot of things can happen. 2nd and 8. Semanek looks to Hemmings. Tries to find some room, slips, and I'll tell you what.
They're all over him.
There were 10 East Brunswick Bears there.
Everybody rotated there, Jim. And I'll tell you, Hemmings looks nothing like the receiver I saw last year.
Well, I think the cast for Woodbridge was a little more diverse, and that allowed Hemmings to star. But he has, I mean, you just focus on him, and you get the job done against Woodbridge. 3rd and 3, we'll call it. 5:20 left to go in the 2nd quarter. East Brunswick up 14-0. Give is up the middle to number 34.
Reyes, 44, I believe.
Is it 44?
No, it isn't. Let's see.
That's Jason Ali.
Okay.
And that was enough for the 1st down, so Woodbridge is grudgingly moving ahead.
Well, Nyer's not getting away from his plan too much. He said he's going to run the ball quite a bit. The passing game doesn't appear to be working anyway, Jim.
1st down for the Barrons. Ball at the 37-yard line. There's the long pass to Gurney.
I'll tell you, open in the middle there.
It was open.
And
you see Marcus Borden, the East Brunswick coach, imploring his defenders to not let Gurney get behind them.
Well, this Mannix just overthrew Gurney, but I think everybody's concentrating on Hemming and whatnot, and Gurney broke to the middle there. We'll keep an eye on it.
The incomplete pass on 1st down makes it 2nd and 10. All right, the give to Ali.
Again.
Gets about close to 5 yards on that play. That was a nice gain. So it'll make it 3rd and 5. Sismanek. Back to pass. Looks for Hemmings. Way overthrown. Wow. If Hemmings was able to gather that in, he did have a little bit of room, but that makes it 4th down.
Sismanek not very impressive.
Right.
Hasn't been on at all as far as getting the ball there.
So that makes it 4th down. Woodbridge will be kicking.
And the Jesse James gang, who have already returned one for a touchdown this year.
Early is the deep back, just gathered in. Looks like King's going to pick that up. Well, he fumbled the ball. Let's see who has it. They're still wrestling for it. It's a scrum.
And the Bears maintain control.
Right.
You got to believe King fell on it.
Just in time. Boy, they were coming in there pretty hard. So East Brunswick will take over on its own 27-yard line. They have 3:52 with which to score. Now we have somebody down for Woodbridge. That looks like number 30. That looks like
34.
Allie.
Yeah.
That looks like Allie. That's the player that's down. And yeah, I have to believe that in charging into that pile, Allie might have. That's how he got injured. We'll see what happened here.
Well, I'll tell you, as you look at Ali down on the ground there, and Bill Nyers out there, check out his player. You got to send your best wishes out to Keith Mahoney, who is out for the year, Jim, with a knee injury, I believe the meniscus and ACL. And Keith is one of those kids who worked hard all year, and unfortunately has the injury. But we send our best to him. He's still a big part of the team.
All right. Allie is on his knees right now.
And while we're talking about injuries, Joe Bilasamo, a young fella who didn't get to play this year, broke his leg before the season and whatnot, but he's on the bench. And we wish him well in a speedy recovery so he can get back. He's a junior and help this team next year.
Okay. So East Brunswick with a first down. We said that there is 3:52 left on the clock for this second period. East Brunswick is up 14-0, and they'll try to get one more before this half concludes. Cosentino pitches out to Hurley. Again, he has room. Gorney tries to wrestle him down. And what do we got here? Somebody is down for Woodbridge. He tried to go after Cosentino.
He's hurt too, Jim.
That is number 53, I believe. Let's see. Number 53 for Woodbridge is down.
Jim, he's moving his legs, kicking his legs all around, so he's in some pain right now.
That is Mike DiPaolo.
We certainly hope the young fellow is all right. And once again, Bill Nyers walks out on the field to see about his injured player.
Phil, I go back to the statement that you made in that Cosentino against Piscataway. It looks like DiPaolo's all right. He's off the field. Dished out a lot of punishment, even though it appeared that he was the recipient. And that's a situation that looks like that.
Right. It looked like he got his tail whipped because they were hitting him on just about every play. But he was giving out some punishment. He was knocking some guys down as well. So
big guy. Hurley actually got about 5, well, we'll call it 4 yards on the play, so it is 2nd and 6. Clock continues to run. 3:30 left to go in the second quarter.
That's Mullane breaking through.
And Mullane
with
advances the ball up to the 43-yard line before he's brought down, and that'll stop the clock for East Brunswick.
And once again, good running by Johnny Mullane. A versatile player. John can play just about any position on his field.
The rain starts to pick up. It's been off and on all this game. First down for the Bears.
Ooh, mercy.
Held in the backfield is Pleasant.
Woo.
And that was number 54. Joe LaQuarrie, he's one of the captains.
And he laid one on Pleasant that time, Jim.
Right. Loss of 1 on the, well, we'll call it 2. So the ball is on the 38. East Brunswick does not want to mess around too much with this ball. They already got a 2-touchdown lead. The rain seems to be picking up. Cosentino gets lassoed down there.
I'll tell you, nice job there.
That was Murphy.
Joe Murphy once again doing a fine job coming up.
Ball is down on the 35-yard line.
Okay, Jim, might we see the ball up in the air?
It's a good question. I think not, Phil. I think East Brunswick's going to be conservative here.
I think they're going to put it up.
Okay. And there's Cosentino. He is looking downfield. Open is number 28, but he can't hold on to it.
Okay, Teddy Nemec, and Teddy Nemec hasn't missed much this year, Jim. I talked about it before. He's been one of the steadying forces for this Bear team. He has emerged as a very good tight end. He just didn't hold on to that one.
It was a well-designed play that East Brunswick sent 2 players deep, and that left the seam in the middle open to Nemec, who just couldn't hold on to the ball. So that stops the clock with 1:48 left to go in the second quarter. East Brunswick up 14-0, but they will have to punt. It's a 4th down. And Hemmings is the lone deep back for Woodbridge. Let's see if they kick it away from him. Ball is up in the air, and Hemmings will not get a chance to run this back. So the ball is down on the 30-yard line with 1:39 left to go in the second quarter. Phil, I had a chance to talk to Coach Toto, and he mentions that you have to have a 500 or better record, okay, by the 8th, I believe it's the 8th game, in order to qualify for the playoffs, and you will automatically, and you need to be in the top 8, okay, and you will be seated now
in your group.
Exactly, okay. In the sectional, and then the other teams still can play another game, but that would be determined by the state. Semanek throws it to Hemmings. Let's see if they can corral him this time. He gets through one tackler.
I'll tell you, nice move there by Hemmings and whatnot. And forehand shove.
Right, East Brunswick in somewhat of a prevent. That's about a 15-yard gain for Woodbridge.
And you got to believe the Bears are going to open it. The Barrons are going to open it up right now and start throwing the ball all over the place.
Well, you know, Phil, I tell you, they're okay. I would say I don't remember any team using a timeout. So, well, what are they doing here? They're still waiting for the chains to be set up. So Woodbridge actually gets more time.
You got single coverage out here on Hemmings.
Sure does, and I think they recognize that. Again, the ball is thrown too high.
This is Manick having a tough day, and Hemmings seems like he's hurt himself.
You know what? He leaped for the ball and came down on that leg, and
I don't know.
I told you, I thought I saw some weakness in that leg before, and he's obviously hurting.
There may be some weakness in the leg, or it may be a case of where if he has the lower back injury, going up and jolting it as you come down.
Right. The way he's, you can see it's his back. Yeah, they're checking his lower back right now.
I'll tell you, see Bill Nyers out there, and I sort of like that. You know, it's your guys out there, and he may be hurt, he may not be hurt, but nevertheless, the trainer may be out there, but the coach is taking a look at the player as well, letting him know that he's concerned about him.
Needless to say, if Hemmings cannot return, this would be a severe blow to Woodbridge.
Yeah. Nyers, again, coached the North-South All-Star game this past year, and of course he's been a steady staple at the Snapple Bowl. Woodbridge football player himself, Jim, and just glad to be home to coach at his alma mater. And he has really done a job for Woodbridge. We talked about the fact that they were Central Jersey Group 4 champs last year.
And I'm telling you, that just to win one Central Jersey Group 4 championship is, I know Marcus Borden would take any accolades that he's won through the years and trade it all in for that one championship. All right, Hemmings is up. And is still bent over, so he's in some degree of pain. Actually, he's limping.
He's limping, you're right.
Yeah, I think it's the leg. He came down on the leg. But it's probably a combination of the back as well.
I'll tell you, and
they're taking him off.
Fans on both sides give him a good hand, Jim.
As well they should.
And he is, as I said before, we didn't see too much of it today, but he certainly is a Division I prospect.
Right, and I imagine just the fact that he came out here to play this afternoon he should be given a lot of credit.
No doubt about it.
That incomplete pass makes it 2nd and 10 for Woodbridge. They still have 1:19 left to go. Same play, basically. This one is complete to Gurney. Good tackle by King. I'm sorry, that was Hurley. Clock continues to run.
Hurley coming up with the tackle. They picked up about 7 yards. And they're going to continue to throw, Hemmings or not.
3rd and 3.
He's down, got the first down now.
Right. And they'll stop the clock to move the chains once more. Woodbridge is now in East Brunswick territory. I can't remember if they've been in East Brunswick territory this half. And I can't remember when they used timeouts.
It's a screen, Jim. Woo!
Well, it's slow developing.
And I'll tell you.
Semanik took a shot from Raheem and
Brazier,
Zukas.
and I think it was 51, Jim. It might have been Zold.
Okay, could have been Zold.
Tom Zold in there as well.
We're calling his name an awful lot
I'll
this
tell you,
afternoon.
Tommy's coming around. You know, good, tough kid, and
I mentioned him as the snapper for the extra points.
he's developing.
Not all that big, but I'll tell you what, he really comes to play. 2nd and 10. 42 seconds left to go. Here comes East Brunswick slamming through, but Semanik gets away somehow. Still on his feet, and finally, now we got a flag.
I'll tell you, Zukas finally brings him down.
I guess they're going to call that a clip.
And I tell you, one of the Bear players, the coaches will be talking to him about putting your head down when you're going to tackle. You got to keep that head up to avoid injuries, but also to see where you're going to tackle.
Clip is the call at that point, 45, so march it back 15 yards from there.
Well, just 33 seconds left, Jim, in this half, and
Phil, do you recall the Barrons using a timeout, or they had to use those timeouts for the injuries?
I think they used one, Jim.
Okay. Semanik gives up the middle to Ali.
And they're playing it safe. There's a flag. But the Barrons seem to be willing to get out of here with a 14-point deficit. Face mask against the Bears, however. And they'll be penalized. And an automatic first down, Jim.
All right, so a little bit of life here for the Barrons. East Brunswick really had them in bad shape, but it's not a first down, Phil.
Oh, that's right.
2nd and 13.
Ten seconds left.
Pitches to Rays. Not quite sure about that play. I guess
I'll
without
tell you.
Hemmings, Phil, they don't have any passing.
They don't have
receivers.
too much. Corio coming up to make the tackle along with Batwash.
And that is the end of the first half. The clock runs out on that play. So East Brunswick marches off the field here with a 14-0 lead. And all in all, Phil, a pretty good half for the Bears.
A pretty good half for the Bears. The Barrons haven't shown too much of life at all, and without Hemmings in there, you can't expect too much more. But you got to give the Bears a lot of credit. They got the running game going. They're picking up good yardage. What you really got to like about them is really the downfield blocking that is being provided by their players, Jim. Bids well for the Bears.
Okay, so it is halftime here at homecoming for East Brunswick, leading 14-0 over Woodbridge. Right now, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
Okay, you just saw John Kish's Merry Band Renown, and they've been a good one. Of course, they're just coming back several weeks from Atlantic City, where they played in the Miss America parade, and they're a fine band and doing a fine job. Of course, this is homecoming, and this is the time when a lot of people come back to the alma mater to visit friends and family. And of course, we're going to be naming the king and queen in their court. And as you see coming down, you have the sophomore queen, Jenny Carlin, and the junior representative is Tiffany Shanapy. And they haven't come down quite yet. They're sort of up front there, and then we'll announce the homecoming queen and king. Okay, you're looking at Jenny Carlin, I believe the sophomore representative, and her parents. And got to be some proud parents there. Your daughter, as a sophomore, is named as part of the Queen's Court, the representative for the sophomore class. And of course, we got a lot of announcements going on about the homecoming events. And pretty soon, there's Jenny Carlin being escorted by her parents. Jenny got a lot of television time here. And next you have Tiffany Shanaphy, and she's being escorted by her parents. And now the king. Well, the king can't be here because he plays football, but that's his parents there. That's Chris Hurley's parents, and Chris Hurley is the king for 1998. And I'll tell you, some friends of mine, the Baylogs, and their beautiful daughter, Morgan Baylog, who is the 1998 homecoming queen. I'll tell you, nice people all the way around. Okay, there you have the queen and king in their court. And those are the representatives for 1998. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay, we are back at East Brunswick High School, where we're about to begin the second half. We've just concluded our homecoming activities. East Brunswick with a 14-0 lead. And I'm looking at the back of Ryan Costantino, Phil. He's got part of his pad hanging. If you see him on the sidelines there running down to the right here, I'm not quite sure he realizes that.
No, he realizes that. He's about to hook it back up again, Jim.
Okay, it's a flak jack.
Flak jacket.
Yeah.
Protect those ribs.
You know, also, Phil, we want to find out if number 12 for Woodbridge is on the sidelines there. Remember, they took him off.
That means I doubt it, Jim.
Yeah, that seemed like a rather not severe injury, but nonetheless was quite debilitating, and the senior was in some sort of pain. We're sorry to see him leave this game. I know East Brunswick is not.
Yeah. Well,
however,
the Bears are going to receive this half, Jim, and certainly a good omen for them.
You mean they're going to kick off, right?
The Bears are going to receive.
Well, that's an interesting concept for receiving, especially since they have the ball on the tee.
I'm in another world, yeah.
That's okay. We'll allow you a little time to come back.
Yeah.
This was a long halftime, I'll admit.
Homecoming halftime.
Yeah. But if you recall, they did take the first half kickoff and marched down the field for their first touchdown, coming on Ryan Cosentino's 2-yard plunge with 7:26 left to go. Point by Yanazo was good, and then Hurley took a 21-yard pitch from Cosentino at 6:48 left to go in the second period to make it 14-0. That's where we're at. Yanazo with a low kick. Hemmings not there, so Gurney is the threat, and he gets to the outside. Rob King, as he usually has, makes that open field tackle.
King has been tough all day. Good job on blocking, good job on tackling.
And now I look to the sidelines and I see Henning's gear is off, and
he's done for the day, Jim. That's
exactly.
for sure.
Yep. I don't know if he's here on the sidelines. It doesn't make any difference. Woodbridge will take over first down on its own 37-yard line. East Brunswick with a seemingly comfortable 14-0 lead.
Well, let's see if the Nyers has made any adjustments, if he can make any adjustments here, Jim.
They're in the wishbone as usual. And they're going to pass. Gurney's open, gathers it in. He's got some room to run. Tries to stiff arm his way up the field, and nice catch there by Gurney.
And Tommy McCluskey brings him down, and Gurney seems to be a little shook up himself, but we talked about whether Nyers was going to make any adjustments. Maybe he's abandoning his original game plan of running and decided, hey, we're gonna start throwing again, whether we have Keith Hemmings or not. Let's see.
So a nice gain for the Barrons all the way down to East Brunswick's 35-yard line. They will again have a first down. A lot of room up the middle. Reyes bounces off one tackle, another. King finally brings him down. There's a scrum on the right side.
I tell you, Ray is putting his nose down and picking up some good yardage there, Jim.
First down again. Advances the ball to the East Brunswick 25-yard line.
And Nyers has said the problem for his team has been the third quarter, the second half, basically, Jim. They've played tough the first half, but not the second half.
Semantic calling signals. Drops back to, no, he gives it to Reyes to the right side. He's got some good room. Slips and falls. The ball is loose.
There's a fumble, Jim, but I don't see the officials call it. They're saying it's down. They're saying
apparently that ball went out. They're talking about it now.
The officials called it down, Jim, but I thought that ball may have popped out of there.
Really? I saw the official point in the direction of East Brunswick towards the other goal line. Well, what's going on here now?
They're giving the ball to Woodbridge, just saying he was down, Jim.
Very indecisive call by the official. I thought he was down too, in actuality.
I don't know, it was a quick hit, Jim, and the ball popped out.
It was a gain of 7 yards by Reyes, so it's 2nd and 3. This is as close as Woodbridge has gotten to East Brunswick's goal. Going to pass, coming to the right. It's knocked, but they still complete it. My gosh, what a sequence there, huh?
I'll tell you, Gurney's wide open, Jim. Somebody forgot to get him. He's wide open downfield.
I thought Kersal hit him in the, before he got released the ball, but obviously he had enough on it.
Manic didn't see Gurney headed in the end zone there, but did complete it to one of his receivers in the flat.
So that's a first down once again for the Barrons. They're marching now. Ball is on the 13-yard line, so they too can get a first down without scoring. 10 minutes left to go in the third quarter. East Brunswick 14-0. The rain has stopped here, by the way. Give is to Ali up the middle, grinds his way down to about the 10-yard line.
Okay, in the middle of that defensive line there, putting the stops on Ali.
East Brunswick's pointing in the other direction as if they have the ball, but that was also called dead. Second and 8 to go, or 7. Let's call it a 3-yard gain.
And the question is, will they run it, Jim, or will they try to?
That is the question.
They have 2 tight ends.
Semanik will give it to Rays.
And I'll tell you,
They caught him.
Bizzaro Raheem on the tackle there.
Zero Raheem was, you call that a tackle? He grabbed that jersey, but that was enough to slow him up so the other guys could get in. And we have an up penalty, Phil. A personal foul against Woodbridge. Don't know where that came from.
I'll tell you, they've had several though, Jim, that have cost them.
And you have to think, since there wasn't a lot of physical action going on down
mouthy.
there, it probably was somebody saying something. And that has to hurt. We have a timeout now, Woodbridge calls.
I'll tell you, Bill Nyers has to get his team under control. That's basically what that's about, because they're getting penalties that are certainly hurting them, and he wants to let them know, listen, we got a tough enough time on the field without giving the Bears help by giving them key penalties.
I wanted to talk about the other fall sports for East Brunswick. We didn't get a chance. Cindy Todorov's field hockey team is off to a 10-2-1 start, and they had their most recent win, a 1-0 victory over Metuchen on Friday. They're currently in first place in the red division with an 8-0-1 record, so congratulations to the field hockey team. In girls tennis, the Bears are once again the class of the GMC. They captured the recently concluded conference tournament, and in the red division, the team is now 8-0 and owns an overall record of 10-1. Now, finally, in girls gymnastics, the Bears actually suffered their first loss in a tri-meet with State Power Shawnee in North Hunterdon on Friday. East Brunswick scored 104.4 points, and that bested North Hunterdon's 99.7, and Shawnee actually had a 105.3 to edge the Bears. Now, the East Brunswick record is 7-1, and that takes care of the fall sports except for the cross-country teams.
Okay.
And our paperwork is getting wet, so I will discard this.
And it's 3rd and a ton, Jim.
Looks to be about 20-something yards. So there's a passing situation. They're on him.
Mercy.
Semanik gets snowed under by a host of players, led by, let's see who the first one to get him.
That's Bizzaro again.
Yeah, it sure was. Raheem.
Bizzaro Raheem.
And also number 25, Corio was in there.
And I'll tell you, Bizzaro, one-man wrecking crew right now.
So what appeared to be a promising drive for Woodbridge now turns into a 4th and an acre, actually. Ball is all the way backed up to the 37-yard line, and Woodbridge will have to kick. Wow. What a turn of events here. And it all started with that personal foul. Kick is off. It's going to be field. No, King elects not to field it.
Goes out about the 5, Jim.
Probably the right thing to do. And I don't know if you can catch that, but the individual that knocked that ball is Frank Caprero, the longtime athletic director, football coach at Woodbridge.
I'll tell you,
since retired.
A legend.
He's on the far side of the field there. So the ball bounds out on the 5-yard line where East Brunswick will take over. They do obviously not want to make any mistakes. .808 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Costantino gives it off to Pleasant.
And he's gone.
No, he's not gone, but he's got some room. Slips there.
Kearney down there to make sure he goes down, but Pleasant picking up good yardage there.
Just a quick hit right to the left side, and Woodbridge perhaps thinking pass maybe. They give him credit for advancing the ball out to the 33-yard line, so that takes East Brunswick out of trouble. And the Bears with the 1st and 10. That's deflating for the Barrons. Costantino pitch. Nice coverage there by number 21.
I'll tell you, good tackle.
Right. That was
John Chu.
No, that's Damon Edwards.
Damon Edwards, you're right. I'm looking at the Bears numbers.
So it looked like there might be some yardage there, but nonetheless, it's a 2-yard gain. 2nd and 8. The opposite side, Hurley has it. Great block.
I'll tell you.
And they're going to call that a clip? Hurley is hurled out of bounds.
I'll tell you, Jim, I don't know if that was the one they called on a clip. Some great downfield blocking once again.
There was one block right there you probably saw on the TV. And they're going to call, actually they're going to call that blocking below the waist.
Yeah.
And that indeed is what it was. I didn't think they were going to call it that.
And Nick Spadafino saying, hey, he's a little guy. What do you want? He's laughing.
And since that foul occurred on about the 33-yard line, it'll be marked back 10 yards from there, right? Or is it a 15-yard penalty? Yes, it is. Brought back to the 18. Where it will be second and kind of like a country mile for East Brunswick too, Phil.
I don't know. We might look for Teddy Nemec here.
He is the lone receiver to the right.
That is King to the right.
Okay, King. Costantino cuts inside. He's got room.
He's got a lot of room.
And there he goes. And he is just right at the first down marker.
And once again, Rob King on downfield blocking. Can't say it enough. Shielded his man out long enough for Costantino to pick up some good yardage.
They're going to measure. It's all the way across on this near side. Chains, of course, are on the far side. But Costantino saw the room, and he took off. And it looks to be just a little bit short, perhaps a half a yard. But East Brunswick has a third down, so they still can get it.
They got 2 downs to get this.
You think they would go on fourth down?
They think they want to control the ball. We'll see. And they know they can move on the Barrons.
Okay. And they'll mark right at the hash marks. So it is third down and a half yard to go. Nothing fancy here, right, Phil?
Well, should be a dive.
It's like a quarterback sneak, perhaps, but they're ready for it this time. Still gets it. I don't know.
Hey, close.
I don't know. It depends on where they mark that.
Somebody came in low for the Barrons there. And
well, Woodbridge was lined up this time to prevent that. And Zukas was the recipient of a bunch of hits, submarines, whatever.
Another measurement.
And I don't know. I think he's somewhat short. And then and if he is, we'll get a chance to test your hypothesis. Still, really actually no gain on the play. So what do you do here?
Well, you do the same thing. I mean, you have the option. You can get it. They're not going to punt.
That
and they are.
To be the call.
And they are. Whew. And the Bears playing it safe here, Jim. They know they can run on the Barrons when they get ready to. Rather than take a chance, since they didn't pick up that first down. He's up short, though, Jim. Look how short he's up.
Costantino with a nice kick to Gurney, fields it, and slips and falls on about his own 35, and that's where Woodbridge will take over.
And once again, Tommy McCluskey on the tackle. Okay, probably good football logic to punt the ball, Jim.
Well, you got a 14-0 lead here, East Brunswick does. There is 5:54 left to go in the third quarter. You're right, Phil, in that East Brunswick has shown an ability to move the ball. However, you don't want to lose that advantage,
I think
especially in your own
they want to
territory.
control that ball, and that's what they have to give it up. Woodbridge is going to pull out all the stops to try to score, and it's still only a 14-point game.
Semanek, as he has all afternoon, quarterbacking for Woodbridge, gives it up to the middle to Rays. It's a few yards.
Rays with just a very few yards there, and the Bear defense seems to have tightened up, Jim.
Well, I think without the explosiveness of Keith Hemmons in there, it allows them to be a little bit more focused on defense, not having to back off in anticipation of that, Hemmings streaking down the sideline.
Okay, I said a few, but it's actually 4.
Semanek looks he's going to pass, but he's going to be nailed.
Andrew Batwash.
Just didn't have enough time, and at that East Brunswick speed.
I'll tell you, Andrew Batwash, the junior linebacker, blowing in there, sacking Semanek for the loss, Jim. They know in order for the Barrons to get back in this game, they're going to have to try to pass, Jim. And what they're doing is they're blowing their linebackers through there.
Exactly, all 3 of them, and I don't care what kind of blocking you have. You can't catch everybody. That's a loss of 10 on the play, and that will make it 3rd and 16. Semanek passing, lofts one deep, and looks like
intercepted.
Is it picked off? Hurley,
Chris Hurley.
Interception.
I'll tell you, the homecoming king coming up with an interception.
Okay.
Sorry, Jim, for talking over you. I'm a little excited here.
All right, so Hurley having a fine day, scoring one of the 2 touchdowns. And what do we got here? Now they say it wasn't an interception.
Oh, wow.
It was out of bounds.
Wow.
So it looks like Woodbridge will be in a punt situation.
And the Bears are going to have good field position no matter what, Jim.
Got to tell you, Phil, the officials have been rather indecisive with their calls this afternoon.
Ooh.
Almost over the top, almost blocked. And
ooh,
there's a flag.
I think he's going to say he didn't give him enough room to catch the ball.
Phil, in actuality, that works out better for East Brunswick. They probably had the ball in better field position than the interception.
You got to give that receiver a yard.
Right, and is that a 5-yard penalty?
Well, the receiver is open there, Jim, and
yeah, but he didn't call fair catch, did he?
They waved it off, Jim.
I think
they're
so.
Saying, what they're saying is the one official saying he didn't have enough room to catch the ball. The other officials from the other side thought he did, so they waved it off. I guess they collaborated and
I like to see more of that too, either way, rather than an official make a questionable call. So with 4:19 left to go in the 3rd quarter, East Brunswick takes over just shy of midfield at their own 49-yard line. Ryan Costantino, who has been all the way, directs the wishbone. Keeps it. Nobody there.
I'll tell you, he was looking for the trail man to pitch.
I got to tell you, Rays is lucky he didn't pick up a spearing penalty on that.
Right?
He really came in hard on Costantino after he was down. And the loss of 4 will make it 2nd and 14. I wonder what happened on that play. I imagine somebody was supposed to stay back.
Well, there's always a trailing man, Jim. There was no trailer that time.
So this appears to be a passing situation, but you never know with the wishbone. And the give is up the middle to Mullane.
Okay, the Bears mixing it up, trying to get the Barrons off balance here. But they come up to what you might consider an important 3rd down here, Jim.
Gain of 3. 3rd and 12.
And we haven't seen them go to Unazo yet this game.
Right.
And this may be the time. They got Hurley spread right, Unazo left.
Costantino. He's being chased, but he's got room. Nice pass. Couldn't be gathered in by number 28.
That's the tight end, Nemec.
Was headed for the first down marker, but they just did not connect. So that'll bring up a 4th down for the Bears. 4th and 12. Gurney, who has replaced Keith Hemmings, the quality wideout for Woodbridge, injured in the first half.
I'll tell you, ordinarily you worry about keeping a team like Woodbridge around, Jim, like they're doing there, but they don't appear to have enough explosiveness to come up with anything big.
Costantino gets off a kick to the sideline, and that'll bounce out on about the 35. So Woodbridge once again will have a shot. 2:43 left to go in the third quarter.
Okay, that's about the 25, I believe.
Phil, we haven't been reading the papers to find out if they're starting to track the PowerPoint rankings, but with this victory, East Brunswick will probably move up a couple of notches, and you got to wonder, with a 3-2 record in Central Jersey Group 4, whether or not they're going to make one of those 8 playoff spots. I would think that they're probably right on the bubble right now.
I'll tell you, the pitcher should clear up a little bit more this week.
Exactly. We'll keep an eye on it. Semanek hit once more in the backfield, and that's Lucas. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, Zoll.
Tommy Zoll.
Zoll, boy, has he been playing the game. I don't know whether he just avoided his blocker, but Semanek has been lassoed a couple of times this game.
But Jim, we talked about Piscataway losing last night, 19-18. Old Bridge, of course, beat Edison 34-20, and Cerebril squeaked by Colonia 7-6, which tells you Cerebril is beatable.
Right, and that's who East Brunswick will be playing in 2 weeks. They have an off week coming up here. Rays with some room. Advances the ball up to about the 30-yard line, 29 we'll call it.
Once again, your safety, McCluskey, coming up to make the tackle. And Reyes hasn't stopped playing.
Right. Central Jersey Group 4 made up of a number of conferences, a portion of the Shore Conference, the Skyline Conference, of course, the Greater Middlesex Conference, Red Division, and a number of the Mercer County teams, the Colonial Conference. Semanek is going to pass, looks across the middle, he finds Gurney.
Oh, mercy!
Who gets whipped? McCloskey nailed down.
Mercy,
Gurney.
mercy, mercy.
And he gets up.
I'll tell you, Tommy McCloskey, once again, coming up laying a lick on the receiver. You had Andrew Batwash there as well, but Tommy McCloskey with another big hit.
Nonetheless, it's a first down for Woodbridge. And we'll see if Gurney's going to be as anxious this time going across the middle. Give to Rays. Has some room. Gets through. Breaks another tackle. Still on his feet. Finally wrestled down by Raheem.
Lassled down. Like a runaway bull there, Reyes. And he picks up a first down, Jim.
So Woodbridge now starting to march. They have just under a minute left to go in the third quarter. They're down by 2 touchdowns, 14-0. East Brunswick scores coming in the first half. And a touchdown here is going to make things a little uncomfortable for the Bears. Give us to Rays. Finds a little seam up the middle.
I'll tell you, he's just plowing through there right now, picking up some good yardage.
Zoll brought him down.
And we talked about the third period being the period that the Barrons usually let down, but they've played the Bears rather even here. And this
still haven't scored yet.
This quarter's almost over.
And I wonder if they're going to get this play off. There's 10 seconds now. I don't think they're going to get this off. So that'll do it for the third quarter of play.
Okay.
The score remains East Brunswick 14 and Woodbridge nothing. Phil?
And I tell you, everybody runs to the side saying fourth quarter, believing that the fourth quarter is theirs. Again, the Barrons have fared too well in the fourth quarter. And
well, that Edison game last week that they lost, right? They were up.
That's right. And Edison came back to beat them 20-10. But we do have a full quarter left here, and you don't like the feeling of keeping them around that close.
Woodbridge with the ball on the East Brunswick 38-yard line. You hear the band in the background playing their usual fourth quarter serenade.
I'll tell you, John Kish and his Merry Men keeping the rhythm going.
And they do have a lot of fun here, that's for sure.
His Merry Men and Ladies, I should say. His band.
Okay, we are about to begin the fourth quarter of play. Woodbridge with a 2nd and 5. Ball on the East Brunswick 37-yard line. And they're going to quick pop over the middle. Nice catch by number 80.
Nice catch by number 80. And Tommy McCluskey once again nailing him.
That was Sean Riley who caught that pass. And it is again a first down. You know, they're paying for it, but they're still making the yards.
They're paying for it, but they're making the plays there. And the thing about it is the Barrons haven't given up.
Ball is on the 25-yard line. First down for Woodbridge. Pitch to Reyes. And they got him.
From the backside.
That was Raheem.
Raheem Bazero once again. And Bazero playing a super game today. He's had some fine games, but he's really standing out today. Coming from the backside to make that tackle.
What do we got here now? Okay, no flag. I thought the way they were looking at it, they were calling a flag, but it's just a loss on the play. 2nd and 14.
I'd watch Gurney on a look in here, Jim.
And they have two receivers split to the near side, just out of your screen. And a pitch up the middle to Reyes.
Draw play.
Gets back some of those yards.
I'll tell you what the Barrons did was spread everybody, receivers out, spread them far right, and came back with the draw play to the fullback up the gut.
And this is some blocking and tackling going on now. Gain to the 22-yard line, so it'll be 3rd and 7. And this is obviously two-down territory for Woodbridge.
No doubt about it.
Again, the receivers split to the near side.
And I got to believe they're passing, Jim.
Pass, yes.
And
you know, Sysmanic has had that pass.
Well, on the out pass, Jim, he's done.
Right.
He hasn't done badly when it's thrown over the middle and whatnot.
Right.
But any time it's gone to the out, he hasn't even been close.
Hemmings, of course, when he was in there. And that's how he was actually injured on that play, coming down, leaping for the ball and coming down hard on that ankle. So that'll make it 4th and 7. And as we mentioned, this is two-down territory, so Woodbridge will be going for it. This is a big play in this game. There's 10 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. East Brunswick up 14-0.
Everything's tight here, Jim.
Woodbridge with a 4th and 7. He's going to pass in, however, dodges 1-1, and open is Gurney.
Mercy.
And just short of the goal line.
I'll tell you, he's down on the 1-inch line there, Jim. And Zizmanic doing a good job getting away from the pressure there.
Right, Batwash
had him, thought he had him in the background. Zizmanic ducked underneath Jim and got the ball off.
Fine play by the quarterback. And Gurney all alone. So that gives Woodbridge a key. That was a 4th down, too, by the way.
That's a 4th down, and you know Reyes is getting this, Jim.
Ball just on the 1-yard line. Give this to Ali, actually, and he stopped short. good penetration there by East Brunswick.
I'll tell you, coming in low once again. You got Bizzaro and
so actually no gain on the play, so it's
that
second
wash
ball.
there.
All right, here we go. Give is to Ali, and once again, well, let's see. Nope.
I'll tell you,
still short.
He's about a fraction short right there. And twice they've given it to Ali, and not to Reyes, who's really been the workhorse for them, Jim.
Phil, what I noticed is that number 75, Mario Allinder, who's huge, but he's on that right side, but he doesn't seem to be able to move out.
He's not moving anybody out, right?
So we have a third down. Meanwhile, the clock continues to move. It's 8:50.
And that Bear defense has done a job thus far.
Keeper, and it looks like Sysmatic is in this time.
Sysmatic is in. I thought he was pushed in, Jim, from the back.
Could have been.
You can't legally come in and push a player from the back, but he went in. Give him credit.
So that's a 1-yard touchdown coming at the 8:39 mark, and a rather important extra point coming up for Woodbridge. We haven't seen their kicking game all day. And is this Murphy? It's up and through. Murphy.
8:39.
Actually, that was Salazar who made that. So with 8:39 left to go in the fourth quarter of the game, it is East Brunswick still holding on to a 14-7 lead now. And a important possession coming up for East Brunswick.
An important possession for the Bears, and if you do, you want to get back to your basics again. Start running the E-bone, keep possession of it, and move the ball down the field. Play ball control here. Because one mistake, Jim, one mistake and you're going to give the Barrons an opportunity to get back to really make something out of this game. They're in this game right now and only down 7 points. And that was the fear when you came out in the third quarter. You didn't want to leave them hanging around too long because anything can happen in a close game.
Obviously a key play, that fourth down, where Sysmatic was able to dodge Botwash and connect with Gurney, who advanced the ball down to the 1-yard line. Took 3 plays actually to bring it in from that point. But Woodbridge does score. They convert the extra point, and it's 14-7. So Salazar will kick off for the Barrons. He does so. It's down the middle. Gathered in by Hurley. He'll take it right up the middle. Got some room.
I'll tell you. Oh, mercy.
And brings it all the way to the Woodbridge 44-yard line.
Mike Castellano coming up with the tackle there to stop Hurley. But Hurley had some room, and I thought he was going to take it, Jim.
Well-designed kickoff return by East Brunswick.
Okay, excellent field position for the Bears. They got to control that line of scrimmage.
And the ball in the able hands of quarterback Brian Costantino. Has it, pitches, Hurley's got it.
He's got some room.
And bounds out of bounds on about the 35. Just short of the first down, depending on where they mark it.
I'll tell you, Ryan doing some good reading there. They collapsed on him, and he got it out to Hurley just in time, who picked up some good yardage.
Second and about 1 yard to go. Costantino gives it up the middle. No, I'm sorry, he keeps it himself and gives it to Pleasant. Pleasant's got room.
Good block out there.
And he moves it all the way down to about the 15. Another nice play. A little bit of dangerous with that pitch, but Cosentino showing he can handle that ball.
And Edward Damon's making the tackle. Damon Edwards making the tackle there. But Brad Pleasant, you're right, Jim, picking up some awfully good yards. And once again, good downfield blocking. 2
plays, 2 first downs. Excuse me, that was a second down on that play, so it is a first down now for East Brunswick. Ball resting on the 15-yard line. 8 minutes left to go in the game. Mullane with it, up the middle, keeps on moving, and
I'll tell you, he takes it in.
What a play.
I'll tell you, John Mullane with just a breakaway play there, showing good power, showing good speed.
So East Brunswick responds nicely on that drive, taking only 4 plays to move the ball 45 yards. It all started with that kickoff return.
With that kickoff return and ending with John Mullane up the belly there.
15-yard run. Play coming with 7:53 left to go in the game, and East Brunswick's back out on top by 2 touchdowns with Ginazzo to try the extra point. And the kick is up, and it's good. So East Brunswick now ahead 21-7.
And Jim, they did exactly what they had to do on their maintain control of that ball and run it down the field, they did. Just spreading the ball out to various backs and ending it with a super run by Johnny Mullane.
And we hear a birthday up in the band. That could apply to almost anybody.
7:53 left, Jim. And the Barrons, I don't think, from what we've seen, doesn't appear to have enough.
Well, I don't know. It's
juice, not in the air anyway.
Well, I think the clock is going to become a factor right now. You're right. They lack the explosiveness that a Keith Hemmings gives you. But you can't count them out. Touchdown here and an onside kick, and who knows? A lot of the homecoming crowd here electing to stay for the rest of the game. They've been rewarded with a very fine performance by this East Brunswick football team. Ginazzo kicks it off. It's a low one. Bounds to Gurney, picked up by the LaQuarrie, I believe, number 54.
A dangerous play for the Barrons there. 2 guys, they almost collided with each other. They're lucky to maintain control.
Woodbridge will get the ball just about at the 29-yard line. They have to be moving here. It's 7:47 left to go, and they're back down by 2. Sismanik will call signals as he has all afternoon. Isn't a give to Gurney on an end around. However, he's not going to get anything out
nowhere.
of this.
Teddy Nemeth coming up, I believe.
And he was brought down before he got driven out of bounds, so the clock will continue to run.
Or is that Nemeth or is that McCluskey again?
It's hard to say. It's on that side of the field.
I think it's McCluskey.
Okay. Okay. 2nd and about 12, or maybe 1 yard on the play. There's a loss on the play. Sismanik back to pass. He's being pursued. There's a loose ball.
I'll tell you, Tommy Corio.
He caused the fumble and he recovered it.
And he recovered.
Are they going to call that an incomplete pass?
Oh, wow.
I got to tell you.
Wow.
That was nothing close to an incomplete.
Wow.
He nailed him before he was even close to throwing it, but nonetheless, they call it an incomplete pass.
I'll tell you, Corio blowing in there appeared to knock it loose, and I thought he recovered it as well. But again, the quick whistle, Jim.
3rd and 12. There we go again. There's a screen pass. Again, Sysmanic's too high.
And I'll tell you, the Bear defense is just blowing in there right now, Jim.
And I think Nyers is putting up the red flag here. It's going to be a 4th down. He appears to be punting. Bill, I'm looking at the schedule. East Brunswick has the next Saturday off, and then they will go back on the road at Saraville. And Saraville, of course, is 5-0 and probably one of the better teams in the county.
Well, they're one of the better teams, Jim, but again, by their 7-6 win, barely having a win over Colonia, they're beatable.
Hurley gathers it in and gets wrestled down at the 49.
The fact is, Colonia outgained them substantially last night, and I'll tell you, they look pretty tough. We have Colonia on November the 6th, so we have that to look forward to.
Right, and of course South Brunswick is sandwiched in between. They are not having a good season, so you got to think that 2 of the next 3 opponents are going to be rather formidable for East Brunswick.
Formidable but winnable. The thing about it is Saraville doesn't have a big line.
Right.
Their line is perhaps like the Bears are, so it's going to be a game of quickness.
So East Brunswick with a 1st down on its own 49-yard line. They should be conservative here. Costantino has a lot of room to run, and it's good yardage on the play.
I'll tell you, Costantino running the machine right now.
He gets himself a 1st down, ball's down to the 33-yard line.
And Jim, you said before about Costantino in the wishbone, in the option offense and whatnot. He does a fine job, as good a job as any quarterback we've seen around here running the option and whatnot. But I believe that with the tools that he has, once he moves on in another system, if it's not the wishbone, he's going to show you everything. Because he can run, he can pass.
Sure can.
And he's physical.
Something we should mention during this timeout is that if for some reason the Bears do not make the first 8 positions in the sectional, they have already submitted their paperwork to the state to be included in another draw, which will allow them to be matched against another team.
Why not?
So there will be a guaranteed 10th game on November 13th, and that will be at the site of the higher seeded team. What they'll do is they will seed the rest of the teams in Central Jersey Group 4 below the 8th seed, okay, and 9 will play 10. You understand how it works?
It's sort of like the wild card for the baseball. It certainly adds some excitement.
Sure, and an extra game to a team that wants to play. So a 1st down for East Brunswick on the 33-yard line. Clock shows 6:11 left to go in this game. Mullane with it.
On the counter.
He's got a lot of room. A lot of
daylight. Go all the way.
Nope, they close in on him.
And I'll tell you, that middle is opening wide there, and John Mullane with his speed is taking it right through there. I talked about John Mullane once before. A versatile kid can play any position on this field, including the quarterback position.
So Mullane with a good run all the way down to the 7-yard line. East Brunswick with a 1st and goal. Give us to Pleasant to the right side, and he's going to walk into the end zone for a touchdown.
I'll tell you, the captain, Brad Pleasant, cruising in, and I see what Bill Nyers means when he says during the second half has been the problem for his team, and the Bears have come out and taken it to him.
And that score coming with 5:36 left to go in this game makes it East Brunswick 27, Woodbridge 7, and Yanazo will attempt his 4th extra point. And 4 different players have been in the scoring column for East Brunswick.
We talked about the top of the game about how they're going to have to spread it around, Jim, and that's exactly what they've done. Good
snap there but it is not good.
And that's unusual. You won't see Inazo miss too many of them. Appears that he might have clipped part of the ground, Jim, before he got the ball.
So, with 5:35 left, the score remains 27 for East Brunswick, 7 for Woodbridge. And this one's pretty much over. Some of the crowd now starting to filter out. We again remind you that there's a lot of football to be played by this East Brunswick team in the next few weeks. Well, actually, they'll have next week off, but again, they're going to go to Saraville, and that'll be a big game for the Bears. Then they will go the following week. That'll be October 30th. They will visit South Brunswick,
who's having a very tough season.
Tough season, right. Okay, and then finally they will return home November 6th for the final regular season home game against Colonia. Now, we should also mention, way there toward the end, it seems like light years from now.
I'll tell you,
here's the kickoff, Woodbridge on Thanksgiving Day, which is always a lot of fun. Taken by the Woodbridge back, number 21, who slips and falls.
And Teddy Nemec, number 28, making the tackle.
And Edwards was the ball carrier.
And I tell you, Jim, this is a good win for the Bears.
Oh, yes.
Certainly needed to keep them in contention for state playoffs and Red Division honors as well.
That is true. This is Szymanek to pass. Can't find anybody, and he's finally lassoed down by Raheem, who's had a great game this afternoon.
He's had a super game this afternoon.
We've mentioned Zold has had a terrific game. Zukas plays as usual good. Corio, Raheem, we can go on with that entire defense who's played superb. Hurley's been great in the secondary.
Well, the line has put the pressure on, and the defensive backs have just done a super job covering, even when Hemmings was here, in there.
And we've also mentioned Chris Corsal, who's played very well. The loss will bring it back to the 21. It's a second down. Reyes is the ball carrier. He's got some room up the middle. And there's the ball loose. Let's see where it is. I think the ball bounced around.
And it bounced, and I think he got it back there, Jim. But we mentioned Reyes before. He hasn't stopped playing, Jim.
And that's good enough for a first down by Woodbridge.
Reyes once again.
Phil, again, I'm very impressed by Basira Rahim, who is just a junior.
Just a junior, young fellow who hasn't played football since the 8th grade, Jim. Has had some shoulder problems and whatnot. Got surgery, got it fixed. And just an energetic young fella.
See him there at the bench, seated. I guess they took him out of the game, and a well-deserved rest. So a second and, let's call it 4 yards for Woodbridge. They're obviously in a passing situation. Szymanek, though, is going to run with it. And he's still on his feet.
And he gets out of bounds, I believe.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see that hash mark on the far side. But he gets himself a first down. A lot of the regulars out of the game now. You see Cosentino on the bench. And haven't kept the statistics for this game, but I got to imagine he's over 100 yards once again.
Cosentino?
Rushing.
He may
close.
be up there.
Yep.
I'm not sure because he spread it around quite a bit.
Pitch is to Reyes. He has some blockers. However, they do a nice job of lassoing him.
And that's Nemec, McCluskey, Tommy's old.
You know, that's not a big,
Zukas.
Phil, that's not a big team out there for East Brunswick, but boy, are they quick.
Well, they're not big, but as you said, they are quick, and that's been their thing all year, Jim. That's what their game is going to have to be, quickness.
Quickness and conditioning. Be very interesting to see how they match up against Saraville, who has a degree of quickness in their own part. 2nd and 4. Sysmanic fades to the left.
Chris Casal, almost.
Nope. Sysmanic runs it out of bounds.
And Corio on the tackle.
Just about at the first down marker. No, I'm sorry, he's short. He's about a yard short. 3rd and 1. And we are down to 2:39 left to go in this game. East Brunswick up by a 27-7 lead. And as Phil mentioned before, 4 different people scoring, a lot of offense on East Brunswick's part, spread around. Up the middle to Ali, who gets enough for the first down.
And number 42 in there for the Bears, James Gagnon.
Number of new faces in. Looking for the receiver. Nice lasso there.
Hey, Teddy Nemec.
Oh, and Sysmanic is down.
He's down and he's hurting there. Teddy Nemec coming up and making a strong tackle.
You know, he's holding his left wrist.
His wrist, I tell you.
Yeah, he must have come down hard on that wrist. Nothing you can do about that. And this, of course, is going to cause a stoppage of play.
And that's Brian Sysmanic down, the quarterback. He's a 5'9", 180-pound junior, Jim, and he's had big shoes to fill with McGrath, Sean McGrath, the super quarterback that the Barrons had last year.
Right.
And Szymanski, he's got another year, so he's a little bit young and whatnot, and hasn't been doing a bad job, but it's tough to place a player like McGrath.
I see number 1, Matt Smith, who is just a sophomore, taking snaps for Woodbridge.
A clean white jersey, Jim. He hasn't had too much action at all.
With 2 minutes left to go in this game and the score 27-7 in favor of East Brunswick, it's not going to mean a heck of a lot of difference. This game was decided a couple of minutes ago when East Brunswick put together 2 good touchdown drives after seeing its 14-0 lead at halftime narrow down to 14-7. Woodbridge came back with about 9 minutes left to go in this game, and then East Brunswick scored a minute later to make it 21-7. That coming on Joe Mullane's 15-yard run, and then followed it with another touchdown by Brad Pleasant, 7 yards, 5:36 left to go of the game to make it 27-7 where we stand right now. Sysmanic is up.
Okay, good sign, Jim, to see the young fellow up, and of course the crowd gives him a hand.
You see the way they're holding that hand, though.
He's holding that.
He's got to be hurt.
I think you're right. It's that wrist, and a tough break for the Barrons.
And with the sophomore Smith being the quarterback, you got to wonder about Woodbridge if they're going to have to rely on a sophomore quarterback to go the rest of this way. Because if this is a broken wrist, which it could very well be, I don't see Sysmanic coming back soon.
The thing about it, Hemmings was their other quarterback, and they took him out to put Sysmanic in. Hemmings is hurt. Looks like he may be out for a while. Sysmanic out, and so it's going to have to be Matt Smith, the sophomore.
By the way, Keith Hemmings is in a jacket on the sidelines. I see him. At least he's on his own 2 feet. Quite a bruising game this afternoon, as all GMC Red Division games are. 2nd and 20 with that loss. Matt Smith, the quarterback. Gives it to Reyes,
That's
who's got some nice room here. He's had a fairly decent day of rushing.
I'll tell you, and Matt Smith, you're a smart quarterback. He comes in, and you're right, gives it right away to Reyes, and Reyes is, you're right, has picked up good yards. He has to be near 100 himself.
He is about a yard shy of the first down. 3rd and 1, we'll call it. Ball is on the 26-yard line. We were bothered by a misty rain. There goes Reyes again, and he has himself a first down. I was saying, Phil, the first half was on and off rain, but it's been pretty much just a dishwater gray sky here for the second half.
And the young Pleasant, Brandon Pleasant, number 19, coming up to make the tackle.
All new faces in for East Brunswick now. Meanwhile, Woodbridge keeps its first team in. Smith tried to connect on the handoff, but that ball was bounding around. I think he fell on it. And he does, but not after losing 2 yards.
And Adam Fleischauer fell on him.
So we have 45 seconds left to go as the clock continues to wind down. Woodbridge has any hopes of putting more points on the board, they're going to probably have to go through the air. Nope, they give it to Reyes. He runs full brunt into a host of East Brunswick tacklers. And unless Woodbridge calls a timeout, I think that might be the last play of the game.
Okay.
Sort of giving up the ghost. Well, they do get to the line. 3rd and 7.
Michael Marrero on that last tackle.
Smith back to pass. Heaves one to the end zone, and it's gathered in by Gurney for the touchdown. Well, not the way you really want to end the game because there's no time on the clock.
There's no time on the clock.
But nonetheless, a confidence builder for the sophomore quarterback as he connects with Gurney with no time left on the clock, making the score 27-13. They do not go for the extra point since that's the last play.
I'll tell you.
And that's how the game ends.
A confidence builder for the young quarterback, but a convincing victory for the East Brunswick Bears, showing complete balance all the way around. And that's exactly what you want as you prepare for a pretty tough Cerebral team in 2 weeks, Jim.
Exactly, and that's what East Brunswick at least can look forward to with its 3-2 record. They're well on their way to getting the best record they've had in 3 years. We have to go back to the playoff team back in '95, if I remember correctly, to be as successful as they are right now. But this is a good East Brunswick team that continues to get better, and with good opponents such as Saraville and Colonia in the offing during November, it's a good thing that they're starting to round their game right into form.
Well, it should make for an interesting season, rest of the season anyway, Jim.
Okay, so that's going to do it here at East Brunswick High School. The final score, East Brunswick 27, Woodbridge 13. For Phil Hill, this is Jimmy Allinder saying thanks for being with us.